Welcome back to the Big Steve Show. I nearly said the Big Six Show then because we're talking about the Big Six. But listen, people, welcome back to the show. It's Monday. It's 6 o'clock. You know what time it is. Manchester City have ended the curse. We've won a game of football. Erling Haaland has scored a goal. We're not getting relegated, I don't think. Erling's not leaving, going to Real Madrid. Everything this week is now back to normal. Last week, it was doom and gloom. Do you know what I mean? And listen, Hugh, it's good to get 3 points back on the board.
Crisis averted, mate. Crisis over. I was beginning to think I needed to sell my season ticket there for a while. Will I quit the channel? What's the point when you lose 3 games in a row? What's the point, you know? But no, I'm delighted, man. It feels good to get back to winning ways. As you said, Mr. Haaland's back in the score sheet. Got himself a nice deal with Beats by Dre as well. Did you see that?
Just seen the advert, yeah.
Mate, he's a superstar, mate. He's an absolute superstar, Erling Haaland. So, no, it's good, man. Listen, I'll just say to the chat before we get into it, there's 110 in the building. Make sure to smash a like on this stream. Subscribe if you're new around here. We just passed 83K, so we're closing in on that big 100K. Big Steve's here to help us do that. And do go to Steve's channel as well and show him support at Big Steve MCFC. And I want to say as well a quick little offer to you guys. If we can get this show, this Big Steve show, to 600 likes by Friday, we'll have a Derby Day special with Big Steve and maybe another guest on City Extra here on Friday evening. So 600 likes and we'll have a Derby Day special with Big Steve. But yeah, that's kind of it with the promotions for now, Steve.
Good. No, it's good. Yeah, got to hit the like button, people. The algorithm sometimes doesn't work in our favour, so we need to hit them likes. But straight back into it, I mean, it was a lot different for me this match day. I've got to admit, I was invited down to the Tunnel Club. Prawn sandwiches, vol au vents, you know, all that shit. Never been there before. I've been there in a tour with the kids, walked through it, but on a match day, never been there before. It's not my cup of tea, I've got to admit. But I tell you what a way to watch football. You know, corporate-wise, like the glass tunnel, just being like close to the players, seeing Pep in the press conference and all that. It's unbelievable what they're doing down there. I mean, it's supposed to be so expensive. I don't know what it costs, but... And then I'm like, I got put in the seats, heated seats. You just press a button on the seat and it warms your ass. And then they were like loads of kids just like colouring in and that and like playing with cars and that on my row while the game's going on and that. I don't know if they were the players' kids or what, but it's a crazy, crazy place, that Tunnel Club, man. Have you ever been in there?
No. I've been on the stadium tour and they kind of bring you in, but this was when I was about 15 and I was kind of like, I'll never get to the level in life where I can go in here. But I'd say for you, it's a long way from the kitbacks and then the Gene Kelly and all that.
Mate, you know, I've been offered a few times and I've always give it up, but I've been a bit under the weather last week. and it sort of fitted in. And I thought, you know what, I'm feeling a bit sorry for myself. I'll go and get pampered in there. And to be honest, the staff, the young lads and that in there were bang on, proper City fans and that. Love Big Steve. So I was having a crack with them. But yeah, it's just a different way of watching football. I tell you, it's like, I don't know, man. I was looking at the South Stand from where I was sat. The only good thing about it, I'll tell you the truth, I was right behind Pep. So It was like being sat in the dugout watching Pep and De Zerbi. De Zerbi, by the way, is absolutely mentally unstable as a human being. He was punching the floor, rolling on the floor, attacking his seat. There was a steward sat next to him on a little box. He sat on the steward's head. The steward turned around and went, "Don't do that again to me, mate," and all that. I don't know what he was doing. It was going off on there, mate. He was going mad every time. And then Pep was going mad at the fourth official about bookings and is that not a shoulder charge and all that. So from that point of view, if anyone gets the opportunity to go in there, it's worth it for that. But the volleybonts and leaves, and I was eating leaves and shit. I don't even know if I was eating the right thing I was supposed to eat. I'm looking at the plate and I was waiting for someone to start. No one was starting, so I just grabbed the leaves and started munching on them. I don't even know if they might have even been plastic. But
how does it? What do you prefer though? Do you prefer the luxury life of the box, or do you prefer being in the South Stand?
I prefer chicken balti pie in the South Stand and watching the DJ mix the tunes. Everyone having a good sing song, definitely, man, definitely. But yeah, it was mad, mate. But the game, we got the lineup. Edison was out, bit of a surprise. Ruben Diaz on the bench. Stones back in. Jeremy Doku starting again. What did you make of the lineup when it was announced? Did you feel like, oh, he's risking it again, or was you happy with that?
I was happy. I was mainly happy to see Stones and Rodri back. I knew that would give us a lot more control and dominance and fluency going forward than what we'd seen in the previous 3 games. The Ederson one I kind of understood because the word was, didn't he get back late from an international break or something like that, or just general rest after the international duty. So I was kind of fine with that because I have a lot of faith and a lot of trust in Ortega. I really rate Ortega, and I think he's a fantastic backup. And I think the fact that he was linked to Bayern Munich during the summer just highlights that further. And then with the attacking thing, like I've been wanting to see Jack Grealish for a while, give him more consistency and time to get back into the team. But myself and Jordan on the previous show, the Brighton game, we had a bit of a debate, Doku or Grealish. I said Grealish, he said Doku. And I was kind of happy with either. But when I saw the Brighton lineup, it made perfect sense to me as to why he went with Doku. When you have old man Milner playing right back, that's the time to unleash the electric winger. And I think it's fair to say in that first half, Steve, man, he had that Brighton right side of defence on toast. They didn't know what to do with him.
Do you know what I thought? I thought that De Zerbi thought, you know what, I'll play Milner. He's an old wily head. He'll get straight into Doku. Maybe rough him up a little bit. Maybe, be a bit too clever for him. But Jeremy was just that fast and that explosive. Milner didn't know whether to get tight. He tried to get tight, got roasted. He tried to stand off him, got roasted. You've literally got to match Jeremy with pace. Otherwise, it's going to be a long afternoon. Is he still raw? 1,000,000%. You've seen him at weekend. He's exciting to watch. As soon as he gets the ball, you can feel the crowd lift. And I used to get that feeling at Main Road with Kincladze. When Kincladze got the ball, you'd notice a little rise in the crowd. And I think you're getting that with Jeremy now. He's very, very direct. The first goal, obviously, great work down the left from him. Just looked like he was running out of pitch, and then he managed to squeeze it past the fullback and then pull it across. Fortunate finish from Alvarez. Great, though, at least to get it in. It hit his standing leg. But, yeah, it was a great start. And like you said before, every time we got the ball on that left, it looked like it was just a one-on-one, Jeremy and Milner, and there was only going to be one winner there.
I think the attack overall, it was definitely a game of 2 halves, Steve. Like the second half, we kind of took our foot off the gas, but the first half, it was refreshing. I said that in my review. It was refreshing to see City creating chances, and what I was most happy with was the enthusiasm to try and pick out Haaland. We're finding him in the channels. We're even putting balls over the top because, after the Arsenal loss, and we kind of had to stew on what went wrong for us for a few weeks there. And obviously not giving the big man the ball was a big thing. So to see that hunger to get Haaland on the ball, even Phil Foden, because he's taken a lot of criticism over the last few weeks about his lack of creativity. I think he looks more at home on the right wing, and he's able to kind of hover into the middle of the park when needs be and make up as an extra creative player. I think he's a real handful on the right-hand side. And I was really happy with him on the weekend against Brighton. So the first half, you can't really complain, man. I think everything, there was a stage where I was thinking we could hit them for 5 or 6.
Oh, well, like you said, Foden, I think Foden's position for me is on the right. I have seen him in the middle. Some games I do like him there, but I think he's more effective on the right for me. Like you say, coming inside, he did a little move where they couldn't get the ball off him. I think it ended with a nutmeg. It was a fantastic move. And then the second goal, I think it's Belieber in the midfield who made a mistake. He gave the ball to Haaland. Usually, Erling Haaland with the ball 20 yards from goal's not really a threat. He's looking to lay it off. He got it in his stride, took a touch, and I tell you what, it was a great finish. Instead of going right across the goalkeeper in the opposite corner, which I thought he was going to do, he hit it hard and low, bottom corner, near post for the keeper. And considering he's a tapping merchant and he never scores from outside the box, it ticked both of them boxes. But you could see a little bit of relief off Big Earl when that went in, as if to say, I bet it's been a tough week for him to sit there stewing, waiting to put the boots on. And like you say, to score a goal like that, it was a great goal.
I mean, yeah, like everyone, football nowadays on social media, people are too reactionary. They start jumping to mad conclusions so quickly and writing off players so prematurely and for no real reason. I mean, to call a guy who's scored 52 goals last season, top of the Premier League goal scoring charts this season, because he didn't score in 3 games, to call him a tapping merchant, a one-season wonder, washed, all these ludicrous accusations and statements, it blew my mind. And it was a matter of time for Big Earl to find the back of the net again. We know that. We know what he's capable of. So, yeah, for him, you could see there was a massive weight off his shoulders. And what a goal to do with. It wasn't, a 6-yard box tap in. It was pure him drilling the ball low and hard, technique, accuracy. And he deserves them, man. He's a special player. 9 goals in 9 games. Not many strikers in the world can do that in the Premier League. Honestly, that's crazy still. Like, last season will never be repeated. I don't think anybody will ever do 52 goals again in one season. But to be on 9 for 9, it takes a special player to do that still.
And other positive things in the first half. John Stones was back to his best again. He's a cult hero at Man City. People don't realise how much John Stones is affects Manchester City's performance. I thought John was playing really, really well. Ortega, like you said before, he's not Edison. He knows that. But some things he's better than Edison at. Some things he's not. It's good to have a keeper that can come in and you not panic a little bit. Over the years, we had keepers coming in like Stefan and Caballero and that in certain games. And we used to always have a little bit of a wobble and think, something's going to happen. But it's good to have a keeper where we can trust him. But first half, like we said before, it was a game of 2 halves. First half, 2-0 up, cruising, dominating the game. Looks like we're going to maybe put 3 or 4 past them. We're going at half time. We're happy. I'm on the vol-au-vents and the lettuce again and all that shit, watercress and all that stuff. And then nobody's panicking down there. Everyone's thinking, you know what it is. It is what it is. We're going to win it. Brighton make a few changes. Milner goes off. They make some offensive changes. And second half, we made hard work of it towards the end, don't you think?
Yeah, it was a bit nervy. I was thinking it could be one of those days early in the season where we dropped points at home at one point. You know what I mean? We were collapsing a bit. We lost control in the midfield. As I said, we just took our foot off the gas and we had to kind of ride our luck a little bit towards the end. But I mean, they got their goal in that, and it's a mistake. I think the defense switched off a little bit. Kanji got his red card as well. But what do you make of that?
Yeah, well, I mean, they were both silly bookings, to be fair. The second one, he knew he was on a yellow. He dragged him down. He took one for the team, but you got to be disappointed. I mean, he's been playing Akanji in the middle sometimes towards the end of the game, trying to get him into midfield. I get it. He's trying to maybe learn that role, but for me, he's not as good in that role as John Stones is. He's not as confident on the ball. He is prone to the mistake or getting caught on the counter and dragging people down. It's another one.
The second yellow card does annoy him because if you saw Konate for Liverpool earlier on, it's the exact same incident that Konate escaped and Akanji didn't.
But what we got to admit is Brighton are a good side. Do you know what I mean? They realised that they got it early doors. They changed it. Mitoma for me is a great player. I thought he was very, very dangerous. He was running at the City defence and he was having a good goal. Ansu Fati, we know about him. You know what I mean? One of the best young players in the world. It's weird how he's ended up at Brighton from Barcelona, but he was there, finished it well. But I've got to give City credit towards the end for managing the game. We slowed it right down. We brought Grealish on. We slowed the tempo down a bit, and we got over the line. We didn't force it. But what we've been speaking about last few episodes on here about Doku and Grealish, it's mad because there was a guy next to me in the Tunnel Club there, and every time Grealish got the ball, he was screaming like, "Why don't you beat your man, Grealish? You can't do it. Get Jeremy should have." And he's a guy that's clearly don't understand football. We've got two options now on the left. One's young, exciting, explosive, very raw, dynamic, energy. One's a guy that's very experienced, plays in the system, won the treble, knows what he's got to do, knows what he's not got to do, and slows the game down. So instead of people trying to compare Doku and Grealish, who should start, who should not, why don't we just admire that we've now got two very different options on the left, where in certain games, Grealish is going to be the man, and in certain games, Doku is going to be the man. And if they can both light a fire up each other's arse as a bit competitive, then I can only see that being a good thing, a bit of healthy competition. What do you think about that?
Yeah, well, I said to you a while ago, or 2 or 3 shows ago now, that they can both positively impact the same game because they're both, as you say, very different players. They can both offer very different things. And I think the game against Brighton, even just by what you said, just it proves that they can both positively impact the game. Doku lit the game on fire in the first half as an attacking threat, going to the byline, got his assist, and so on and so forth. And then the second half, when we needed to slow things down, we needed to be more methodical and control the game. That's where Jack Grealish, he's really effective. Now, I don't shy away from the fact that Grealish does have some things that I just want him to do more of. Like we've seen Jack in the last year, when he does take on his man and he does go to the byline, he can be super effective. But it's quite clear that Pep tells him not to do that more often than not. Pep tells him, I don't need you being electric. I don't need you being an aggressive winger that might lose possession, because Jack was a massive part in our treble winning success and the way we played football. You know what I mean? Just the way we played our overall game, the balance of the game, keeping possession. Jack was huge in that. So I don't buy into it. And I think people are too reactionary with, like, if you say you like Doku, you must dislike Grealish. If you say you like Grealish, you're putting disrespect on Jeremy Doku. They're both playing for City. They both have a lot to offer. And as you said, the most exciting part about the whole thing is they're both going to learn and grow off each other and together. They're going to take things from each other's game, because there are things about Doku's game, the less exciting things, like first touch, ball retention, decision-making, that he can pick up from Jack Grealish, because that's what Jack Grealish is generally really good at. And then Jack Grealish, vice versa, maybe if he's given the license to from Pep, can learn to go on the outside a bit more. So it's one of those debates that I don't fully understand, but they both have a place in the team. That's why they're both there.
Yeah, for sure. And like you say, we've got some important games coming up this week. Young boys away. That might be a chance to experiment a little bit. Maybe Kovacic come back in the side. Maybe Nunes get some minutes. I don't think Calvin's going to play. We've said it before. Just clearly looks like Calvin's coasting his way to January for a move. Haaland might not even start. You know what I mean? With Weekend looking at that, he might think Alvarez can do it. But we can get qualified more or less by beating them. And then we've got the derby on Sunday. We seen during the game, we got the news that Bobby Charlton had passed away. Obviously, a big part of Manchester football, especially Manchester United. Today, I've picked up the papers this morning, and we're just getting ripped apart for chants by 3 or 4 idiots in the South Stand. We've seen the video. The young kids, they need educating. They're going to get banned. You know what I mean? But to tarnish a full fan base and a full club with that actions is wrong. You know, nobody's condoning that. We don't want that. When we're younger, been there myself, seen people singing things, all that. I've seen it. People sing it all the time. Whatever club you support, people sing shit. And there comes a point where you grow up. And at the end of the day, Bobby Charlton, when I was growing up in Manchester, they used to have Bobby Charlton soccer schools. So all the young kids used to go to them. I was never allowed to go to them. My dad said, you ain't going Bobby Charlton soccer school, because you used to get a Man United certificate at the end. But all my friends used to go there. But Bobby Charlton, he survived the Munich air disaster to lift the European Cup, to lift the World Cup, and to win the Ballon d'Or. Bobby Charlton is a massive part of Manchester football heritage and English football heritage. So to see them chants, it was a bit sickening for me. You know what I mean? Them lads need, A, they need sorting out, and B, they need educating. Educating is the word. We've seen it more and more. We've seen young Bradley Lowry getting pictures put about with him the other week. We've heard it all with the Queen. We've heard it all with the Glazers and all that. We hear it all the time. It needs to be knocked on the head. But this week, the press are going to ramp up this campaign because the derby's on Sunday. So all emerging City fans is online. Don't get dragged into the shit. Do you know what I mean? 99% of City fans respect Sir Bobby Charlton. I'm going to Old Trafford tomorrow to put some flowers down for Bobby and a City scarf on behalf of majority of City fans. But I mean, Hugh, we can't stop, people's mouths from opening. These young kids just need educating. I mean, what's your take on it? Have you seen the papers today? Every back page is basically ripping the club apart.
Yeah. First of all, I think you said everything pretty accurate, and I agree with everything you said. I think from the video I saw, I don't know how many videos there are, but the one I saw, it seems like a group of 4 or 5 very, very young City fans in the South Stand concourse singing those lyrics. And me and you, we both sit in the same area of the stadium, and I think we can both agree, for the most part, 99% of the people in that area of the stadium, they're very respectful. We sing our City songs. We have a few beers. We have a bite to eat. We have a laugh. There's very rarely, if ever, any malicious chanting or anything, I suppose, that you could paint us in a negative light. But I agree. I don't condone what they were doing. The young lads, they definitely need educating on everything you just said, because whether he was a rival player or not, or a big part of a rival clubs or not, he was, as you say, a massive part of Manchester heritage. And the reports and the papers today frustrated me a bit, because it's almost as if they're trying to paint all Man City fans with this brush, that it was like the majority of the South Stand or a massive number of Man City fans, which isn't really true. I think you'll find whatever way they want to observe or pay respect to Bobby Charlton on Sunday, City fans will observe that. I'll be there. I'll be in the away end. I'll observe that.
It'd be done. The 50th anniversary in Munich, they ramped it up as like it was going to be some disrespectful shit show. They actually announced on the tannoy the Man City fans had been impeccable, and Fergie walked over to the City end and clapped it. So, I don't want to dwell on it because but I feel it's right to call it out, because I don't like to see the honest, respectful Manchester City fans getting dragged and tarnished with the same brush. Over time, when you're young in football, you sing things you don't really understand, but it's about getting educated and growing up and learning about it. I pulled people at the Charity Shield that were singing songs about Liverpool. Was it the Charity Shield or one of the games? And I was like, listen, lads, you don't have to sing that. We don't have to sing that shit. It's gone. We're a better side and all that. I got some abuse off some people for it, but it is what it is. You're never going to stop it, I don't think, because people's got alcohol in them and drink and they don't really understand. But I just don't like this witch hunt of the club. Oh, it's Man City. Let's just see what we can throw at them. You know what I mean? Manchester City fans at weekend for the derby will be respectful. But I just wanted to get that in. Rest in peace, Sir Bobby Charlton, a great pioneer for football in Manchester and England, World Cup winner, Ballon d'Or. And it's just unfortunate that a few dickheads have now got camera phones and it goes everywhere. So, yeah, I just wanted to say my piece on that.
There's a fella on Twitter, I don't know, do you know, Andy Savage came up with a great idea. I don't know, will the club do it? They did it in 2008 for the 50th anniversary, where they wore the jerseys from around that period. Andy Savage on Twitter suggested that we wear the jersey from the Francis Lee era, and that United would wear their Bobby Charlton, whatever jersey the Bobby Charlton wore, they can choose from, just as respect to both. I don't know what the chances are that happening, but it got a lot of praise, that idea, and recognition on Twitter. So I wanted to highlight that here further, because I think it'll be a fantastic thing to see, a great spectacle to see the blue half wearing the Francis Lee-esque jersey and the red half wearing the Bobby Charlton-esque jersey. But we'll have to see.
The thing is, though, there's that many sponsors involved now. They'll be thinking, hold on a minute, I want some money back if you're not wearing the kit in your derby with Etihad on it or whatever. You know what they're like. But it happened on the anniversary of Munich. They wore the old kits, the traditional shirts with no sponsors on, and that. It was quite good. But we'll see. And like you say, I'll be there at Old Trafford tomorrow. I've got some filming. I'll pay my respects, and hopefully we can move on and just get to playing football now. You know what I mean? Get to build up to the derby, Manchester derby. We've both lost a player in the last month, Franny Lee and Bobby Charlton. Let's give them a good Manchester send-off on the game and have a great game of football and may the best team win. That's what I'm hoping for. But first, we've got young boys. Not disrespecting young boys, do you see any problems there? Do you see that as City taking that easy, or do we just want to get that game won and get through?
It's kind of hard to judge. I don't want to disrespect young boys at all, but it's definitely a game that we can win and should win, even without our very strongest 11. And I think with the incentive of pretty well, is it guaranteed qualification if we win that? It is.
I think more or less. Yeah, I think more or less we're done. Yeah.
Yeah. So Pep will want to get that out of the way as soon as possible. So with the remaining games, you can start to kind of take the foot off the gas a little bit. Then you have to bear in mind the derby on Sunday. Do you want to risk players like the likes of John Stones, who still is kind of recovering a bit? He's coming back. Do you want to risk him? Do you want to risk Big Earl? Rodri, I suppose. These kind of players. Do you want to risk them? It's kind of one for the manager to worry about. I like I said, I don't want to disrespect them, but I can't see anything other than a City win. You're not going out to Switzerland, are you?
No. Like I say, I'm just trying to not pick and choose. I'm just trying to have a bit of a break, because there comes a point where your mind just thinks you've got to attend every single match. And then my bank balance is telling me you can't attend every single match. So
you're telling me, mate, I'm like fucking no flying over.
You know what I mean? So I'm like, I can't do it. I've got now to prove. I'll do it when I can. I'll go to 90% of them, but my health took a bit of a knock. So I'm trying to make sure I'm back on track with that. So I'm feeling good this week. So I've got a lot of work this week with the derby coming up. We've got some previews and stuff on the Mank Talk and that. And then all system go. I'm actually working the game Sunday at Old Trafford for City. So I'll be on the pitch, which I don't know what kind of reception I'm going to get there. If it's anything like the Arsenal reception, they might have to put some security guards on me. Someone like Andy Morrison or something to come with me. That's what I want.
You're well able, mate. You're well able for that. Don't worry about that.
You know what I mean? But yeah, so I'm looking forward to it, because I'm representing the club and I'm representing the fan base. So I always give my best. But I mean, it could be a big week for us, couldn't it? If we get the points in young boys and then go and beat United, we're fully charged then for a difficult period of games. I think we've got Liverpool coming up, Chelsea, Tottenham, Villa. I mean, how do you see us getting through that? Do you think we're just hitting form at the right time, or do you still think we're not even out of first gear yet?
I don't think we are out of first gear yet. I think we're seeing a very common pattern with our successful teams over the years, which is that this part of the season, it's just about keeping yourself in the race, just about keeping yourself there or thereabouts. You'll have a few blips here or there. You'll have a week or two like the one where we had with Newcastle, Wolves and Arsenal, and everyone thinks the world is coming in on top of them. And then you might go and beat United quite handsomely the following week, please God. Like, I think we might as well talk a bit about the derby. Like I said, Chad, if we hit 600 likes on this show between now and Friday, we'll do a derby special on Friday afternoon. But just in summary, I think with this Sunday, the opportunity is there for us to go and do them good and proper.
Yeah.
I really do. I don't know what you think, mate, but I think we're streets ahead of them quality-wise. I look at them against Sheffield United, against was it Brighton or a couple of other teams, and they just look absolutely horrid. If I was a Man United fan, I say that Saeed all the time, I don't know how you can go to Old Trafford and feel excited about watching that football. It really is horrendous, and we're just streets clear, I think, on paper. So, I mean, what do you think, Manchester Derby? Like, I will say though, Derby Day, anything can happen.
Yeah, anything can happen. Listen, it's almost like the roles have reversed. We used to go to Old Trafford and think, you know what, we're not as good as them. Let's give it a go. And we always tried and had a go. I think they know they're not as good as us. We're coming to town, the champions of Europe, the treble winners. You know what I mean? I still can't believe it. So I'm expecting the City fans to be giving it the treble, champions of Europe. All the tunes better be busting out at Old Trafford. But I just think they ain't going to get the ball off us. I just think if we're on it and he plays it right, Johnny Stones and all that in that midfield, and I think it's not going to be like last season. I think they're going to try and get us on the counter-attack if they can. But with Jeremy Doku and people like that, that could be a problem for them. Do you know what I mean? That kind of pace as well. So I'm expecting Pep to come up with something. But we after last season, especially that dodgy referee decision and that, we own one there in the league. Well, we won the big one last year. When it mattered, the treble stopping game, we won it. The game at Old Trafford never meant now in the course of things. We won the league, but we own one for that. You know what I mean?
There is something symbolic, isn't there, for City fans about going to Old Trafford for the first time as treble winners, European Cup winners. Would you say there is?
No, it is. The first time we went as champions, we didn't stop singing Champions of England and all that, because it's something that they would never thought in their lifetime they would see. They could never comprehend Manchester City coming to town as the treble winners, as the champions of Europe. They could never see it in their head. It was only something they can do. It was only something that they could ever do. We could never do it. The chance said it. You'll never win 3 in a row. We won it. You'll never win the treble like Phil and Gary Neville. We did. You know what I mean? All this bullshit they came out with has come back to bite them on the ass. So we're going there on Sunday, fucking marching there, 10 foot tall, champions of Europe. I'm on the pitch. I've got my treble t-shirt on underneath. I don't give a shit. But I tell you what, we deserve it, man. So it is what it is. It's going to be a good game of football. Sometimes the games where you think you're going to roll teams don't end up like that. But I'm fully confident. And Pep knows what it means to us City fans to go there on Sunday and give them a good slapping.
I think if we can emulate the first half we had against Brighton and bring that to Old Trafford over the course of the 90 minutes, I think we could give them a good slapping. Like, I do like to pay respect as much as possible to Derby days, because even last time we went there, you know what I mean? You were there or you were away, but the 2-1 where we lost, I was going to that, thinking we were going to slap them up. And then, you know, you've been to Old Trafford enough. You know what they're like when they do get giddy and they do get up for it, and the energy in the place does change. Like, that was the atmosphere from the Stretford end last season. I don't know, did they get under the player's skin? But I think if we play our game, and we have a fully fit squad now, please God, after Wednesday as well, bar Kevin De Bruyne, who I want to get on to in a few minutes, I don't see why we can't go there and do them good and proper, to be honest, mate.
Yeah, what did you want to say about Kev? Have you heard any news on him? I've not heard much.
Yeah. First, I think I said it to you last week. The first part is that he might be coming back earlier than expected. And the second part, the word is coming out and spreading that City and him are coming close to an agreement on a new contract till 2027. I don't know, did you see that Kev was out in Abu Dhabi? Was it Abu Dhabi? Yeah. With Khaldoon at the UFC? Were they on holiday together? I'm sure they spoke a lot more about than just the fighters and that. So I think to get Kev on a new contract will be a massive lift for the club.
No, he would. Listen, we know that he's had a little bit of an injury problem last couple of seasons. He has played a lot of football, but we've learned to sort of cope without him for the last few months. We need to manage him well when he comes back. We need to make sure we don't flog him. He's so important. I do believe that the creativity in the centre of the park is non-existent without Kevin. You very rarely see a through ball now. Last season, you had Gundogan in there that liked to play them little through balls. You see some of the goals Haaland scored. They were Gundogan through balls. Literally, I can't remember a goal this season where anyone's put a through ball through for Haaland to run onto. Not seen one. So
there was one great ball in the second half. Phil Foden, again, I want to give him credit. Do you remember the one I'm on about? Where Phil Foden's out kind of on the left and he plays a swerving ball over the top to Erling. Yeah. And then Haaland, that would have been a number. I want to highlight. I thought that was sick.
But that's what we need. We need more of that. And I think when Kevin's in the team, he sees things other people can't see. Erling's on that wavelength because he knows where to be. I've seen it a bit with Jeremy. I thought that, Haaland was making the runs in the box, but with Jeremy, you just don't understand whether he's going to go near post, far post, back post. It's literally just a madness in there. So I don't mind it. I like a bit of chaos. As long as it's in the box for me, we've got enough predators in there to stab it in. You know what I mean? Alvarez, Haaland, Foden knocking about. So, I mean, yeah, Kevin's a massive plus. And if we can sign a contract, come back, get to playing football again, it's like a new signing, isn't it? You know what I mean?
I think Kevin coming back for the second half of the season will be absolutely huge. I think I want Pep to do what he did with Ruben Diaz last season, which is even give him a little bit of extra time. I know they're saying he might get back early, and if he does and he's able for it, great. If they're a bit unsure, give him that bit extra time, because having him for the second half of the season when the business end, that's when he turns up, man. That's when he comes with the big goals and the big moments. So yeah, I'm buzzing. I'm buzzing to see Kevin De Bruyne come back whenever it is. It will be like a new signing when we see him, but we'll just have to see.
No, yeah, it is what it is. But like you say, people like Rico Lewis, Nunes and that, I reckon they might get game time Wednesday. But other than that, Hugh, we're back winning ways. We got the 3 points. Haaland's back on the score sheet. Do you want to do these super chats?
Yeah, I just got the one super chat for now. If anybody wants to say anything in particular to Steve, I can't get through every message in the chat. Just fire in a super chat. But if you don't want a super chat, just hit the like button. Bevo, big up Bevo, big supporter of the channel with the 499, says, yes, lads, been a while, but I'm back. What time is kickoff Sunday? It says 3:30, but I've heard 12. I think it's 4:30, isn't it?
Well, someone said 3:30 on the stream, but I think is the clock's back or forward or something. Someone was saying, I don't know, but I don't know. Someone I can't. I haven't even seen it. I got told 3:30, but I don't know if anyone can confirm that in the chat. We'll try and get that done.
I think it'll be 4:30, to be honest, mate. I don't know what the
3:30 is a bit strange, isn't it, on a Sunday? You know what I mean?
Yeah. But yeah, that's the only super chat. I want to ask you slightly once again, going back to the Brighton thing. You talked a bit about De Zerbi. Did you see Pep's comments about De Zerbi last week, saying he'd be the next City manager?
Yeah, I mean, what I've seen of him, I was a bit worried because he doesn't look stable to me. He don't look stable, man. I was watching him. He don't look stable. I swear to God. I swear, if I could have filmed him, you wouldn't believe the shit he was doing. He was ranting and raving and going mad and all that. I mean, he's a great talent. There's a bit of a difference, no disrespect, from Brighton to Man City. The pressure. Mm-hmm. You see this with managers going to like United and that. So I like Ajax, go to Man United, pressure cooker. It's a lot different. Even the best have tried. City will get it right. You know, when that time comes, eventually, when we have to part ways, which will be a really bad time for Man City supporters, like meltdown time, there'll be somebody they've identified and looked at who will carry on that brand of football and who work with the academy and slot straight in. You know what I mean? I don't think City will make a decision as important as that lightly. So I do think other managers will come and go. They'll be watching somebody somewhere, you know. But he's a good manager. He gets his team playing football. He's passionate on the touchline. He can sign a player, you know. So yeah, there's no surprise that he's getting linked to jobs like Manchester City.
Pep regularly gives a lot of praise to opposition managers, doesn't he? Like, he always says flattering things about managers he respects. I don't know, did he mean it literally, that De Zerbi will be the next Manchester City manager? The word was he said it to 3 Brighton players at the end of last season as well, which seemed a bit mad. But I can understand the appeal to De Zerbi, which is that I think we've heard enough over the years that from the board that when Pep does leave, the board are going to put a massive emphasis on getting in a manager who will continue to play an attractive style of football. We don't want to, change the culture of our football, change the culture of the club drastically when Pep leaves. They want someone who'll come in and be able to do their best to pick up where Pep left off. And I think City will give Pep license to have a massive influence in who is his successor. Maybe like a similar situation to Alex Ferguson when he brought in David Moyes, although we really don't want that kind of situation to arise, do we?
No, I don't think that will happen. I think Pep knows that the club make the final say, but he'll have a lot of input in it, I think, you know what I mean, to make sure, they carry on the traditions of the club, which we now have got a brand of football, which you identify with Manchester City, which is right through the academy all the way up. So I don't think it's a case of getting a manager in who brings his own ideas in and changes it. I think it's bringing a manager in who fits in our ideas and fits into our style and fits into our club. Somebody that can just continue where we left off. I think that's where we've got now as a club and as a group, as a City football group. Everyone across the group managing different teams around the world are all doing their own thing, but it's like the City way. I mean, look at Ange at Tottenham. He was at Yokohama Marinos, playing a brand of football that the City group wanted him to play. You never know. We might employ someone from within. You just never know. Left curve ball might come out a left field somewhere and bang. You just never know with City, do you?
No, you don't. You don't. And that's been one of our biggest assets over the years, isn't it? That you don't know what the board are going to do, but everything is done with the best interest of the club at heart. I suppose, once again, with the Brighton game, the Akanji red card means he will be out for the Manchester derby. John Stones obviously is back, which is a great thing. What kind of defense would you like to go with to Old Trafford with Akanji's absence? And I've seen a lot of debate online regarding Akanji, saying he's not been great this season and he probably shouldn't be in the starting 11 anyway. Where do you stand with that?
I mean, Akanji's been brilliant overall. He might not have he's had a bit of a stop-start season. I would go with Ake at left back, Diaz. Would I go with Ake at left back? Now you got me thinking. I'm thinking, see with me, I'd like to play Stones at right back. So I'd like to play Ake, Diaz, Guardiola, and Stones at right back coming into the middle. He's not going to do that, though. He's going to play Kyle.
Yeah, he is.
And he's probably going to play Guardiola left back, Diaz, and Stones, and go to a back three when we haven't got the ball. I don't know. I've just got this thing in my head that last season we played better when we didn't have Kyle at right back. And that's not me saying get rid of him or anything. It's just he's played a lot of games, but I just think we look more solid in certain games that way. But Guardiola has been fantastic. What a signing. 21-year-old. He just looks a monster. And Pep's eased him in. He's not thrown him deep in at centre-back to be exposed. He's played him at left-back a lot of the time. And I think eventually it'll be a Diaz and Guardiola partnership in that middle of that park.
And then Stones playing on the right.
Yeah, I think so.
I think that'll be an unbelievable defense. I'm a massive fan of Guardiola, and I'm a massive fan of the way Pep, as you say, has integrated him and brought him in. You know, it was a big price tag, big price tag for a 21-year-old defender. And if you throw him into every single game and he makes a couple mistakes here and there, or he slips up, or he costs a goal, all of a sudden everyone's on his back. Everyone's like, you know, the 75 million pound, whatever it was, 21-year-old that they got from Leipzig. He's not able for the Premier League. Pep puts him in. He does a good job. Takes him out. Won't see him again for another couple games or else a while. Put him back in. Does a good job. The thing he's technically really, really good, Guardiola, and he reads the game very well. A lot of people saying, and I kind of agree with it, that he could grow into a similar role to John Stones.
Yeah, I agree. You know what I mean? You see him do it. You see him running to the midfield and no one can touch him. I think City are building something slow. Núñez has obviously got a role to play in this team. We don't know where. We haven't seen the best of him. He needs to play. We talk about Calvin Phillips coasting away to January to get his move now, looking that way. So in my opinion, that leaves us short, but not in the defensive midfield capacity. I think we need to go and get Paqueta. I think the deal was on the cards until this gambling thing came up.
It's back on the cards. According to reports, it's back on the cards. According to reports yesterday, City are going to go back in and are hopeful to get a deal done next year. I don't know.
I'd like to see that in January, me. I'd like to go in January. If Calvin's got to go the other way, then so be it. Calvin needs to play football for his international career. It's not worked out. God bless him. But if we can get Paqueta, he's the man in the middle of the park for me that can play that ball. The ball we were talking about, the De Bruyne ball, Paqueta can play that ball for me. So that is what we need. I think we've got too many side-to-side defensive-minded players in there. We just need a little bit more creativity in the middle of the park. We tried Foden in there. Don't think it works. Think he's better out on the right. If we can get a Paqueta in there alongside a Bernardo Silva and a Rodri or something like that, I think that's fucking unbelievable.
Bebo again with the 199. Big up Bebo for the support, by the way. He says, normally do Derby earlier to stop the ale flowing. You won't stop the ale flowing, Bebo. People will get on their ale regardless, but we'll have to see. The midfield. I was a big fan of the midfield on the weekend, Steve. Rodri, Alvarez, Bernardo. What did you make of that one?
Yeah. Rodri, Alvarez, Bernardo. Yeah, it's good. It's looking good. Sometimes Alvarez is very, very young. We need to realise that he's still young. He's still playing. He's still learning. You know, last season he was in and out, and he did tremendously well. He's still learning. There's going to be games where Alvarez is not. It's not going to work. People need to realise that. There's going to be games where it ain't going to work. There's going to be games where it's fantastic and he's unbelievable. But he's a great option to have. As far as him leading the line, if Earl wasn't there, I don't think he can do that yet. I just don't think he can. I think we have to play different again. But all these different permutations and options are what we need to play in games like Young Boys, no disrespect and things like that. Try a few things in them games where we know that if we do slip up, we can put it right. But Alvarez, for me, has been player of the season so far. I think he's done really, really well. And like you say, the goal he's chipping in with now, unbelievable. But yeah, it's a good midfield. Bernardo Silva, we know what we think of Bernardo. You know what I mean? He's just unbelievable. And with Rodri, we've proved that with Rodri's not in the team, we're just a different animal. So we need to keep him fit and ready to go.
Yeah, he's going to be huge over the next couple of weeks. You spoke about you touched on those massive fixtures coming up, and to get through those fixtures as best as possible, Rodri will need to be in tip-top condition. Simon here with a member for 9 months. Big up, Simon. Says, hi, Hugh, and big up, Big Steve. Hope all is good with you guys. The missus has just broken her wrist and fractured her hip. Shout out for Christine, please. Jesus, Simon.
I don't know what you're doing to your missus, mate, and I don't want to know, but if she's just broken hip, you need to try it out. But big up, Christine. Listen, Christine, if he's filling you in at weekend, he might be a United fan, one of them boys. We know what they do over there. If he's filling you in, leave a little wink in the chat or something, and someone will send the police round. But big up Simon anyway. We're only joking. Big up, mate.
Yeah, big up Simon and congratulations on the 9 months, and shout out to Christine as well. We wish you a very speedy recovery. Guys, if you're a member of the channel, make sure you check if you have a member chat like Simon's just there. They come in free once a month, so if you're a member, make sure you double check. Do you have one? We've got about 10 minutes left. I want to touch in a bit on some of the rivals over the weekend, some interesting games. But if you guys want to get your thoughts and make sure you do smash a like. There's about 350 in the building. Pretty good numbers for a Monday evening. Like I already said at the top of the show, that if we get 600 likes between now and Friday, we'll have a very special Derby Day episode with Big Steve and another guest. So 600 likes if you want to make that happen. Subscribe if you're new around here, and subscribe to Big Steve at Big Steve MCFC on YouTube as well. Steve, Arsenal. They won the league 2 weeks ago when they beat us. And then they went and put in, listen, you can argue it two ways. You could say it was a Champions-esque performance or a gritty point to get. But I don't know, did you watch the game? If you ask me, very lucky boys to get a draw.
I watched the first half. Yeah, they was lucky. They weren't at the races. They were 2-0 down. I just did a show before we touched on the game. They're still undefeated. They got a point. There's games in a title run where you stood there in the terrace and you think, we're not going to win today. We're not at the races. And then you can pull a point out of it or nick a win. They're games that you want. Does it show some frailties in Arsenal? Yes. Are they going to be worried? Probably, because they worry about everything. But it's not a bad point when you're 2-0 down and you come back like that. That's the way I'd be looking at it. If I'm a City fan, I'm looking at it that way. But there's a long way to go. We know they're not as good as they think they are. So, still a long way to go. A point's a point. Like we've said before, we've got to keep in and around the mix. If you're in and around that mix with the last 10 games kicking, whoever makes a run and whoever's got the balls to hold it usually wins the league. It's staying on the coattails of whoever's out in front. That's the point. That's what you got to do.
Yeah, I watched the whole game myself, and I thought they were lucky to get their point. But then again, you can't argue, like you said, that it's a good point to get considering the circumstances. But listen, we're back top of the league after 9 games.
We're in crisis as well, apparently.
That's what I'm saying, man. We were in crisis, and it's not a bad crisis if you're top of the league, at least for another few hours while Tottenham are due to play. But it is what it is, man, with Arsenal. I'm just looking at some of the messages here. Nicely put. Yeah. Anything else?
No, other than that, I think we've just got to concentrate on our own shit. We've got a big week, young boys and the derby on Sunday. Try not to get embroiled in online crap. We know what we're about as a fan base and as a club. Let's keep it respectful. And let's touch base next week. Like you say, if you can get the likes up to 600, we'll do a Derby Day preview. Please like the stream, share the stream. Obviously, any of your mates. Facebook groups is good. If you think people in Facebook Man City groups like the stream, drop it in there. After you finish this stream, I've got a little match reaction going on my show, on my channel, at Big Steve MCFC. My take on the game at weekend is on there. And other than that, no, I've enjoyed it. It's good. Good to get it out there. Bit of therapy on a Monday night. We're back to winning ways. So, we're back on the horse. Let's go.
Back on the horse. Well said. It was a good show tonight. It's good to be back to winning ways. Like Steve said, we'll have a Derby Day special if you guys can hit 600 likes between now and Friday. Steve, like you said, he's got that video coming out. A bit of a Champions League talk. Is that what it is? Build up to Wednesday?
It's a Brighton reaction. Just a bit of a talk about the game. Bit of what we touched on here. I recorded it before, but I think it goes out on my channel at 7 o'clock. So if anyone's at a loose end, go over there at Big Steve MCFC. Go and watch it.
Right. If you can't get enough of Big Steve, go over there. 8 minutes time, brand new video. Listen, like I said, big up everybody in the chat. 600 likes. We'll have a Derby Day special. So like the stream if you're here now. If you're watching on playback, let us know your thoughts down below in the comments. And we'll see you very soon with more content in a bit, people.